Aloha, and welcome to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We are broadcasting live in the Pioneer Plaza, the ThinkTech Hawaii studios on the 8th floor in beautiful downtown Honolulu. We're also live on livestream.com. Just find the ThinkTech channel and you'll find us live there. And then also, if you wanted to go to the thinktechhawaii.com website, we have our schedule of all the programs, including this one, on the website. Business in Hawaii is a story or stories of successful businesses and business people. We talk about the positive side of business. We're a little weary of the negativity, and so we're trying to find good stories that we can talk about that are successful companies and individuals and how they got around some of the challenges that we hear about. Today we have a very successful individual that has done a variety of things over the years. I think a lot of people know Dave Livingston. They have seen him before. He generally has a camera around his neck, and he's going out to probably 2 or 3 events every single week. So people have seen him, but they may not know that much about him. So Dave, welcome to the show. I'm glad you can make it.
Thanks for having me on, Reg.
All right, it's my pleasure. Very popular guy. I think you've got one of those recognizable faces. I think a lot of people know who you are. Can you give us a little bit of background, some history about where you're from and how you got here?
Absolutely. The long story is I was born in Iran. My dad was a Shaw's pilot for 7 years, and I ended up in Southern California at the ripe old age of 6 months old. So I don't remember a lot of Farsi from the back in the day, but grew up in Riverside. I went to Rubidoux High School. Some people know where Rubidoux High School is. Some people know where San Bernardino is now, which is right next to Riverside.
I believe both is in Southern California,
Both
right?
in Southern California. Got out of high school and was offered a job at the YMCA while I was going to college, and ended up being a YMCA director at the ripe old age of 18.
Wow.
So at the Riverside Y, the Corona Norco Y, the San Bernardino YMCA for 7 years. Have some friends there that got affected by this.
Now, what was the secret? How did you make the directorship level
So
at
young.
the age of 18?
Talk about the right job at the right time. They hired me to be a program director, and the executive director quit. And they asked me if I'd take the job. And they told me that there were going to be an outrageous salary, $400 a month.
Wow.
And I said, you know, that was a lot of money back then. And I said, you know, I'd be happy to do it. And the secret to success in that YMCA was a non-facility YMCA. It was a branch of the Riverside Y. I had about 300 volunteers and me, and ran programs for thousands of kids, and it was just a great experience. Then they gave me an opportunity to run the operations of the Riverside YMCA, and then I became the CEO of the Corona Norco Y at the ripe old age of 28, the San Bernardino Y, and then the Pasadena Y.
You're doing this while you're going through college?
The first 7 years of my being a YMCA director, and 2 years off because Uncle Sam called me, I was going to school full-time while I was a YMCA director. And that was the agreement that we had, which was really unique. Not only did I get to go to school, because the YMCA activities were afternoon and weekends, but they even let me run a side business. Of all things, I got licensed to sell life insurance when I was 20 years old. So it was a very interesting time in my life. Working, going to school, running YMCAs, and when I finally got close to a degree in biology and was ready to go on to med school, I woke up one day and said, I think I want to be a YMCA director, and never looked back, and did that for 25 years.
So you've had this entrepreneurship, this business in your blood for quite a while, ever since younger days.
I've been blessed because my wife says I've never had a job and I've never had to go to work. And it's pretty much true today.
And why is that?
Because when you enjoy what you do every day in and out, you never have to go to work.
That's right, it's not really work.
It's not really work. When I retired from the YMCA after 25 years, which was 21 years ago, I bought a marketing company and went out and played with business people and helped them develop business. And then 15 years ago, a friend of mine, Albert Bedionis, said, you need to do what I do, and I became a financial advisor.
Well, but now let's back up a little bit. You went from California. How did you get here to Hawaii?
Well, that's interesting because when I was running the Pasadena YMCA, LA was burning down.
Oh, the riots.
Yeah, and I looked at my wife one night at dinner, and we were right in the middle of it in Pasadena. We had an outreach program in Altadena. I had a bunch of program directors out telling the kids in our community, hey, we want to be here tomorrow. This isn't our fight. And they did a great job. And nothing burned in Pasadena during the riots. And we were very pleased with that. But I was kind of looking at that going, you know, maybe this is a sign. I've got 2 kids in junior high and elementary school, and we can live anywhere and do anything we want to do. And I sat next to Don Anderson, my good friend from the YMCA of Honolulu, and said, Don, I'm looking. And Don said, if you want to apply, I've got a job for you, but I can't pay you what you're making. Mm-hmm. So, you know the old story, $25,000 cut in pay, come to Hawaii. How many people have done that? Made less money, but had the ball, and I've never looked back on that. I ran the Central YMCA. I had a great time there, loved that place. We're now going to tear it down. I'm on the board of directors there. We're going to tear it down and build a new one. And it's just it's a great opportunity. So I continue to serve. I continue to raise money for them, continue to help them in any way I can. The YMCA has just always been a part of my life and will always be in my heart.
Right, and you've built up quite a network of people during that process, haven't you?
You know, being a YMCA director in Honolulu doesn't help you at all. You meet a lot of neat people. We had a lot of members there. And when I opened a marketing company called Trimark, a lot of those people that I got to meet in the YMCA became clients of mine. And when I started as a financial advisor, it was never short of people to call on. And if they love you, know you, and trust you, they're gonna ask you for help. And that's kind of where I do with my business now.
Well, let's table Trimark for a second. We'll talk about that in the second segment of the show, but let's talk a little bit about the YW or YMCA involvement. Now, that's a nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
But there's got to be some similarities to a regular business type operation.
Absolutely.
And so can you share some of the challenges
well,
that you had?
Michael Broderick, who's the CEO of the YMCA, he's got 9 branches, he's got thousands of employees, he takes care of about 7,000 kids every day. He's a busy guy, and we were lucky to get Mike years back. He was a juvenile court judge. Everyone knows Judge Broderick, and when he came on board as a YMCA, he had the perfect heart, the perfect pitch for the job. He's done a wonderful job in keeping the Y together. It's a huge nonprofit organization. They do a great job.
He's got a management team he has to manage.
Huge. And you know, if you're a good business person, you can run a nonprofit organization. If you're a good nonprofit manager, you can run anything because you are doing everything. You got to know plumbing, electrical, building, codes for childcare. Guy asked me the other day, do you have an active shooter policy in your organization? Now, what in the world would you need to know that? But you have to know everything about everything to run a nonprofit organization. And it's a great learning experience. If you want to run a good business, go work for a nonprofit for 10 years. If you can do that well, you can certainly run your own business.
Well, a lot of large companies and even some smaller mid-sized companies will generally ask some of their junior management team to become engaged and volunteer their time in a nonprofit exactly for that reason, so that they can start getting exposed to some of these concepts at a little bit earlier in their career.
You know, it's funny because you and I serve on the Junior Achievement Board of Directors. And if you've got a young entrepreneurial executive out there that you think is going to do well in your business, get them involved in a board, get them involved in a nonprofit organization, get them involved in fundraising, get them involved in out talking to the community leaders in this community that we live in, and they're much more likely to be successful when they fill your shoes than if you keep in that office all day long working.
Right.
Because it's not what you know, it's who you know in this community, and that's in every community.
Yeah, that's true most of the time. Yeah, but then also being involved, it can rotate around into different positions in a nonprofit board and volunteer corps, and they can get exposed to a lot of different things over a period of 2 or 3 years that really makes them a more complete person as a manager and even as an employee.
Absolutely. I serve on a dozen boards now, and I tell you, it's really nice to know what's going on in the community. It's nice to know what the cutting edge stuff's going on in the medical arena. I'm on the March of Dimes board of directors. I've had 3 of my 4 grandkids were premature, ended up in the neonatal intensive care unit. I got to see firsthand what the March of Dimes does, but I knew it before they were born because I was there with my camera shooting those newborns on Christmas with the parents. Carmela Hernandez, the director, asked me to do that. And again, by getting involved in organizations in the community, you just get a variety of opportunity to see what's going on and where you can help.
Little trivia, but I remember when I was in elementary school, I think the March of Dimes, wasn't there little books that you would put the dimes in? Yeah,
absolutely
into the little
right.
books and
that's,
collect them.
That goes back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt when he was president. He said, you know, we can whip this thing, polio, and he had polio, and we can do it a dime at a time. And obviously it was that grantee from that money that developed the Salk vaccine. It's funny because another group, you're very familiar with Rotary, we took that vaccine around the world, and we're this close to taking polio off the face of the earth. This close. We've got Pakistan and Afghanistan is where the polio virus is still alive. And if we kill it there, it's gone forever. This close. Billions of dollars have gone into that, and millions of volunteers. And again, Rotary, an opportunity. Those young entrepreneurs, they want to get involved in nonprofits, start with a Rotary Club, start with a Kiwanis Club, a Lions Club. Get involved in a service club and start giving back to the community. And again, you meet the neatest people in the world.
But that's the key. You got to get involved. You got to get engaged. Just being a member of paying your dues it's not going to help you.
No, we call those Eatorians, not Rotarians. They come and they eat and they leave. The Rotarians are the guys that actually roll up their sleeves and get involved in the day-to-day activities and help develop things in this community that make it a better place to live. Absolutely right.
Now, you've been in Hawaii for 25, 30 years?
23 years.
23
Just
years.
seems like 50 years, but 23 years.
23, and so you've gotten involved in a lot of different organizations.
I've been very blessed.
Yeah,
I've been asked to help in a lot of areas that I had some expertise that I could lend, and yes, and I've enjoyed every minute of that.
And you have actually been able to move into leadership roles in some of these organizations too.
You know some of those organizations very well. By the way, Reg recruited me to be the development director for the Junior Achievement, and we're doing a lot of fun things with that organization. I just, this morning, I was at a Navy League meeting. I'm past president of the Navy League. We had the Sea Services Awards at noon today. I had to leave that early.
That's a great event.
Great event. Mm-hmm. When you listen to what those young men and women have done to keep us safe, it's amazing. And I got to sit with them and have lunch with them today.
Full disclosure, I was the treasurer on an executive committee for the Navy League for quite a number of years, and it was always a rewarding activity to go and give these awards out.
How can you give enough to support those people that have given us everything? I got a call a couple of years ago from a kid in Prescott, Arizona. He said he had a goal. He had lost both of his legs and one of his arms in Iraq, and he wanted to learn how to scuba dive. And could I help him? And I happen to be a scuba instructor, one of my Sunday passions. Bob McDermott, a Navy League executive director, had him flown out. We got a car from Enterprise. We got a hotel from Aston. They couldn't do enough to help this guy. We got him in the pool. We got him certified. Friday, Saturday, he was with us. Sunday, he flew to Maui. The Marines put jet boots on him. They're still classified.
Tell me how they did that.
Hour-and-a-half battery pack on his back, 16 knots underwater.
Wow.
This kid didn't need legs. It was amazing. My buddy Ray filmed everything. There will be a movie about this someday. Brian Colfash is the kid's name. And later on that year at our event our individual augmentee event, Bob McDermott and I were talking about who do we want to have as a guest speaker, and I said, let's bring Brian back. And Brian came and told his story. It was amazing. And today he's a successful architect. He's married. He's got kids, and he's living the American dream. And these are the people that you can't do enough to help.
No, I hear you, and it's a great story, and maybe one that we can actually have a separate show on. But
that would be
we're going to go on break here for just a second, and this is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker, and we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Aloha, I'm Kirsten Baumgart-Turner and I host Sustainable Hawaii every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. My guests offer insights on challenging economic and environmental issues facing our state and offer innovative solutions to increasing Hawaii's long-term sustainability. Recently, we've been focusing on sustainable land development, food, and energy security. If you have a project or issue you'd like to discuss on the show or would like to be a guest, please contact me at kirstenbturner@gmail.com and tune in live weekly or view the show at your convenience at thinktechhawaii.com. Mahalo.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on ThinkTech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to seeing you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
I'm looking at you, not the camera, is that right? I don't see that.
You can look at the camera if you want to emphasize a point.
Okay.
Oh, we are back. Welcome, Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii. Sorry about that. We were so engrossed in our conversation here, we kind of lost our place. Dave, you were talking about all these different organizations that you've been involved in. I mean, it sounds like you've got a more than a full plate. Did we leave anything out?
Hey, you know, there's a couple of organizations that you're familiar with that I didn't talk about. Coalition for a Drug-Free Hawaii. They're doing a great job with our kids, giving them alternative activities rather than doing negative things that are going to affect them physically.
Keep them
and
busy,
mentally for
idle
the rest of
hands
their
and all that.
life. Exactly right. Great counseling programs. They do a great job out there. United Way does a wonderful job. Again, those young entrepreneurs that want to get involved in the community, the United Way has a loaned executive program I was part of back in 94, 95.
I heard about it.
Absolutely the best experience you can have. Involve yourself with the United Way. It's a 2-month program. You will meet the key business leaders in this community. I got more from that individual program than anything I've ever been involved in. And that was the last time we raised $15 million in this community. And those guys that were on that team with me were still best friends. Carmelo Hernandez was one of those loaned execs.
That's another one of the advantages of volunteering your time is you get to really meet some pretty high level movers and shakers in the community because they're involved in the board.
No, that's exactly right.
Oh, that's great. All right, what else are you involved in?
Well, you know, this camera I carry around with me gets me into a lot of places. We did 134 nonprofit events last year.
How many?
134. That's
Wow.
about 3 a week. You're right. I'm about 3 a week where I'm with a camera. Last night, you and I were at a Chamber of Commerce event. I didn't have a camera.
Yeah, I didn't recognize
I
you.
know. Everyone said, "Where's your camera?" I'm not the photographer for the Chamber of Commerce. So I went to that event and had fun just like you, talking to everybody, had a great time, and the photographer kept coming over and taking my picture. I was kind of uncomfortable with that. Beautiful young lady. I asked her a couple times, "Can I take your picture?" "Oh, no, I don't want nothing to do with that." It was a lot of fun last night.
Yeah, it was. And you go to these two, like you said, 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, that's
2 or 3
a busy
times a week.
schedule.
And I volunteer my time because I know that photographers, they're expensive. Professional photographers, you're going to run $850, $900 an event. So if I show up with my camera and I can do that for free and put that out on Snapfish file and help, one of the greatest things that has happened in my life is I started a newsletter 14 years ago, right at 9/11. It's called Things We're Saving. And my pictures are on Things We're Saving every week. And when I go to these events and someone says, "How can I see these pictures?" I say, give me your card and I'll put it on Things We're Saving. Today at the Navy League event, I've got their cards. Oh, I left them in the other room. I have about 18 new email addresses from young kids saying, "Hey, how do I get these pictures?" And we took their pictures of them and their wives and the lady and her husband at the Christmas tree, and they're going to use these pictures for Christmas cards or whatever. Hey, it's a great service, and it costs them nothing, and I get about 8,000 names a year that I put on my Things We're Saving newsletter.
And I get that newsletter, and I got to tell you, it is just packed with
It's
information.
packed with information. It's
so
not
almost-
my information, it's your
well,
information. They're
it's like
providing
a
it.
community calendar.
It is.
You know, and there's
It is.
all kinds of things on there. So when you get it, you have to kind of schedule it on your calendar to read it because
Yeah.
it's
No,
got
I-
a lot of information.
I got a call from a guy when I put I went across the United States, did a 3-week trip in an RV with my 1-year-old at the time granddaughter, her mom and dad and my wife, and we went across 20 states and I put 2,500 pictures on a slide presentation, and a guy called me up and said, thanks, man, I wiped out Monday and Tuesday looking at that. And I said, dude, there's a thing you can put it on high speed. He goes, I didn't know that. That would have saved me a day. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to do that.
No, it's good. Now, you do that as part of, you've got a marketing business too, don't you?
I do. TriMark, direct mail advertising business, still have it, still own it. It's compliance approved with Ameriprise. If an individual out there wants to get the word out about his or her business, I'm happy to help them design a piece, direct mail it to a target market, and we even do a telemarketing follow-up for them. You know, in the history of time, this thing called a website, this thing called email, did a massive change to how we market to people. The interesting thing is everyone said direct mail advertising will be out of business because of this. It's now in business in spite of it, because now people are telling you the best way to get your website out is to email it or to mail it to somebody, not email it, because we've got all these filters out there blocking it. So you want to get the word out to that target market, you can't do it. So we design a database, we design a piece that has something that grabs them an offer. We send it out, and if they want more information, your website's right there on the piece. And so we've kind of dovetailed with the internet, website, whole field.
And this can be specific to communities by zip code, or?
Absolutely. Well, not just by zip code. You know, if you want to know all the green-eyed people that live on the left side of the street and drive Ford Mustangs, somebody can find that list. I mean, these databases out there exist. It's amazing.
So just hypothetically, and I don't want to lock you in anything, but if there was somebody who wanted to get the word out, say a business located in Coco Marina or something, and they wanted to focus on that zip code, what would a cost for a modest type of effort?
You know, the list is about $800. I think there's like 35,000 names on the 96825 zip code right now. You're looking at about 47 cents a piece to print them. And bulk mail, I think, is like 30 cents a piece now. So if you want to segment it, you want only the homes that have $100,000 annual income or more, or if you want the owners, not the tenants, you know, you can segment it down so you can really design the market that you want. And that'll drive your costs down, of course.
Of course.
And that's what we do. We put those quotes out. I work with a lady you know well, Janet Sheffer at Monomeans Advertising. She does all my design and work, and I help her with telemarketing. It's a great relationship.
Hypothetically, for $5,000 or $10,000, somebody could have a pretty good focused direct marketing campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. And the trouble with most businesses when they break into the business world, they don't think that they need that marketing dollar, and without that, they're almost guaranteed to fail. That's why businesses fail the first 3 years, because they undercapitalize the marketing effort. The good news is, Things We're Saving is free. It goes to 8,000 people every week, and you can go to thingswe'resaving.com and give me a paragraph about your business, and I'll get that out to the business leader. It won't cost you a dime. That's a community service that we do, and we're happy to continue doing that.
And I've seen, you know, different announcements on there about different events and different people doing things, and it's kind of nice to be able to get that. And I would hope that maybe you could put some notice on this show on there too.
You know, I think you're going to see that next week. I put all your announcements on that, Things We're Saving, and I know people click on them because they call me and say, that was really neat. When did Reg start doing that? And it's a great little TV show. I love it.
Yeah, I enjoy it too. You know,
I learned more about junior achievement from the TV show in 1 hour than in the year that I've been on the board. That's amazing if you think about it.
Well, it is amazing, and as chairman of the board, I'm going to have to try to get everybody up to speed.
There you go.
Get everybody. I'll make it required viewing.
I love it. I like that idea.
Very good. You're also involved with a nonprofit organization that promotes sales people of the year and marketing.
Sales and marketing executives.
There you go.
The best nonprofit organization, but it's a not-for-profit, but it's a business not-for-profit. So it's not a 501c3.
Okay.
So you can't make charitable contributions to it. But as a business, it's certainly all that you do with that organization is a write-off. And I encourage people to be a member of sales and marketing executives because you're going to meet the top sales and marketing folks in Hawaii. Our events are each month at the Kahala. We have absolutely outstanding speakers. Artie Wilson told us about sports marketing this month. This next week, we're going to Tommy Bahamas for a behind-the-scenes look at that new business.
And that just opened, right?
It just opened. Well, we do one of those. It's called a members-only event. We do one a month. We have our salesperson of the year coming up. I can't tell you who that person is yet.
But you can tell us who some of the past ones
No,
were.
absolutely. Well, Governor Linda Lingle was a past one. Mark Dunkerley with Hawaiian Airlines, Stanford Carr, John Dean.
Perry and
we've done it.
Price.
Perry and Price. It's the first couple that we've had, as a matter of fact. That was a great event. And I love those guys. And they, boy, talk about deserving. The people that are what we think the key marketers, the people that shine the best light on Hawaii for that year are the ones that we nominate, select through a process that I've been on a committee with for now 2 decades. And only the best of the best get to that level where they get to be named as salesperson of the year. And if you're ever asked to do that as a business leader, don't say no, it's not my time, it's not my year, whatever. This is a great honor. And this organization will bring 600-700 people to that lunch to honor you. And it's going to be a great event this year. It's going to be in May, and I can't tell you who it is, but I'll probably be able to tell you that in a week.
All right, well, we'll be looking forward to that. And I know the event itself, and I've been to a few of those, but you usually have the past award winners
All
up
the
on
past
stage,
awardees.
too.
And when they walk in that room, there's a standing ovation. It's just amazing. Danny Kalakini is one of them. John Henry Felix. These guys are amazing, and they've had great long-term business careers, and they're beloved by the folks in Hawaii. And when they walk in that room, there's a standing ovation. They get to sit up on the dais, and it's not a roast.
No.
Although sometimes it's kind of been a roast. When Rick Blangiardi was honored, there were a couple of people that came up and ribbed him a little bit. But
Well, when
it's a great
DeLima
event.
opens his lips, you never know what's going
yeah,
to come
that one,
out.
you never know who's going to show up. DeLima's another past awardee, and you don't know if the Cardinal's going to show up or if Auntie Tutu's going to show up. You never know which one of them's going to show. But he's an amazing guy too. And Vicky Cayetano, one of the most amazing women behind the scenes in our community. She was an awardee a couple years ago, and what a gracious individual. And you get to know that person so much better when you award them because you've got a presentation about their life history, and it's just great to look and see what it takes to be the person that everyone is so enamored with.
And Vicky is a great person, but her sister is also very talented. And
Sometimes
gracious.
when they're in a room, I can't tell them apart. They're amazing. Yeah, her sister's an amazing pianist. It's just, what a talented family.
They are. There's a
Well,
lot
we're
of-
blessed. We're blessed to have just really gracious people in this community.
So, and when is the salesperson of the year event going to be this year?
It's going to be in May.
Okay.
I can't give you a date.
Okay, well, that's all right. You
But
got to
see,
wait.
the
till-
awardee's got to say I can be
Make
there
that
and
date.
make that date.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, Junior Achievement just went through that.
Yeah,
too.
exactly right. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Yeah, why don't you tell them who's our laureate this year for Junior Achievement?
He's a person that's over at the American Savings Bank. He's the CEO. It's Rich Wacker.
Yep.
So, and he has accepted, and we're very excited, and we're just trying to nail down that date so we can give the proper award.
And long before I was a board member, I was a photographer for that event. And I just love that event. That's another really great event every year.
And from what I understand, we still have the best photographer in town.
I'm
for
still
that
the best
event.
photographer at that event. That's exactly right. And the cheapest, by the way.
Yeah, we'll double that this year.
I get a raise. I love it.
Well, we're going to go on another break here. It's been great. We've had 2 segments. We've had 30 minutes just fly right by. And we're going to be taking another 60-minute break. But this is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. I've got Dave Livingston here, and we'll be right back.
Aloha. Welcome to ThinkTech Hawaii. My name is Josh Green. I'm a senator from the Big Island and a physician. I host a show weekly called Healthcare in Hawaii, where we talk about the most important issues in healthcare for our state, whether it's the dengue fever outbreak, the state of our public hospitals, how to find physicians and nurses for our patients, or really just the best things to do for our family's health. That's what you'll find on this show. I'll bring experts to your attention, and we'll have a free-flowing dialogue. Thanks for joining us.
Aloha, this is Alice V. Hagan from ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My show is a bi-weekly show on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. We invite interesting people, entrepreneurs, fascinating leaders who contribute to the social economic well-being of our state. Please tune in to my show, Business Education Spotlight, ThinkTech Hawaii, bi-weekly, Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. Aloha.
Welcome back. This is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker, and I'm here with Dave Livingston, and we're just talking, I guess, about a variety of things, a lot of nonprofit organizations, and all the different things that Dave does through the community. Most people have seen him at one time or another, normally with a camera around his neck, taking pictures at some of these events. Dave, I don't know where you get all this energy, but you just seem to be the ever-ready bunny. You just keep on going.
You know, I'm going to be 65 on Christmas Day, and I tell people I don't look a day over 80. But I'm very lucky. I don't know why I get so turned on doing the events that I get to do. I look forward to every day. Today, you know, started at 8 o'clock this morning at the Howard Hughes Corporation office with a March of Dimes meeting, talking about the upcoming March for Babies, and walked into a Navy League event. And tonight I've got another event that I'm going to for Rotary to meet and greet with our incoming district governor, the new club presidents that I'll be overseeing as the assistant governor. So it's going to be 3 events today, and in between I fit my work as a financial advisor.
Well, I was just going to ask you that. Now, you do all these events. How do you survive? I mean, where does all your money come from to be able to do all of this?
You know, it's funny. When I walk into a Rotary meeting, I've got 10 clients sitting there. And I walk over and talk to them as before the meeting starts, and I'll leave that meeting. I'll go over to a March of Dimes meeting. There'll be a couple clients sitting there that I get to talk to, and I go to a Navy League meeting and get some documents signed and talk to a couple clients there. I'm very fortunate that I'm surrounded by folks who know me, love me, and trust me, and I get to be their financial advisor, and that's a privilege and not one that I take lightly. People often ask me, how in the hell do you have time to do all you're doing and take care of the clients? I go to bed at midnight and I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when the market's open. And when you add another 4 hours a day.
Now, I'm a CPA. I think that only comes out to like 4 hours.
Yeah, when you add 4 hours a day to anyone's work schedule, you can get a lot of work done. And I'm very lucky because the market does open at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I get to work 3 hours at home, take a shower, and drive in, not in the rush traffic, but at 8 o'clock from Hawaii Kai to my office, and then put in a day there. And I never leave the office after 3. Excuse me. If I leave, it's going to be before 3 or after 6.
There you go.
Because I don't want it, you know it. You live in Hawaii Kai. We don't want that traffic. So those times that we get to work and the fact that we both have offices at home allow us the flexibility to work at times when other people don't get to work. And you and I are both on our cell phones 24/7.
And you know, we all have our peak times that we get the most done. And
Exactly
mornings
right.
are good for me. That's when I'm most productive, and it sounds like it's the same for you.
And my assistant, my executive assistant, she gets to the office at 7 o'clock in the morning, leaves at 2. So from 7 to 2, she gets a lot of work done. She lives in Makakilo. She doesn't have to drive 4 hours back home at night. So she loves her job, and my mini-me, I call him, Nick, who's training to be a finance advisor,
now,
he's there till 6 o'clock at night.
What do you call him?
I call him mini-me.
Mini-me.
Yeah, he's actually bigger than me. His shoulders are broader.
Yeah, I
and
was
he's a
thinking
much
that,
better
you know,
looking young man
you
than I am.
yeah.
But yeah, he was at the Navy League event with me today and running around doing stuff while I'm in the room. And he's going to be an absolutely fantastic financial advisor. He'll be licensed here in a couple months. He's doing a great job.
I've met Nick, and I worked with him in the past, and
Isn't he
he's
great?
a sharp guy.
God, we are so blessed to have good people. Between Kim and Nick, my life is so much easier.
Very good. So it sounds like you're having fun. You're able to combine your day job, if I can use that term, with all the other activities you've got going on, and it's a nice mix.
It's a good mix. And in between, I've got some grandkids I get to play with. Unfortunately, my son and daughter both live here in Hawaii, and my daughter, who's about to have number 5 any minute now.
Wow. So that could be another Christmas baby,
That
maybe?
could be another Christmas baby. And my son, his child is due on the 4th of July, so we may just have a bunch of holidays in our family here.
Very, well, that's very economical, you know.
It is, very.
My wife and I were born on the same day, so I've economized and
That's
just have
right.
one birthday.
There you go,
Yeah,
see?
that works out real well.
One cake.
Well, I tried to talk her into getting married on the same day, but she wouldn't buy that.
What the heck?
Yeah,
Of course you didn't.
I thought it
Yeah,
was a
what-
good
what's
strategy.
wrong with her? That was a great idea.
I thought so. But now are you primarily on Oahu, or do you also do
I'm
neighbor
licensed in
island?
27 states.
Holy moly!
So I do a lot of military, young men and women that I get to meet through my contacts in the Navy League, and tell them if you move to another state, I'll get licensed in that state. I don't want you to have to go through another financial advisor every time you move. And I've been fortunate enough to have guys with me for 15 years that
That's impressive.
that I've helped, and you know what? It's my way of giving back to it.
That's good for you. Good for you. And the do you get to travel very much?
I do. I get back and forth to California. My father-in-law is turning 98 in April, so we run a birthday party for him every year. That's always fun to have about 400 Italians show up at the door. The first time we did it was a surprise. We took him to lunch, and we had tables and chairs and food brought in. And as we're pulling up the street in Hesperia, he said, "Oh my God, there's a lot of people parked in front of my house." And there were 400 relatives and friends there for his
gosh.
95th birthday. And we've done it every year since. And it's just been a blast. This guy is amazing. 98, World War II vet. He does crazy stuff, like he stands on top of his RV and brushing the new coat on the RV so it doesn't leak, and paints himself into a corner and then looks around. How am I going to get off this thing? And well, there's a tree there. If I jump in the tree, I can crawl down. I mean, he thinks he's 18. It's just hilarious.
What branch was he in?
He was Army.
Army. Okay.
But remember, there wasn't an Air Force in World War II. It was
Correct.
Army Air Force.
Yeah.
And he was the guy that loaded the bombs and, in England. And the bombers flew over to Germany, and he visited Germany shortly after the war ended and saw the damage that the bombs were doing. And he still suffers from PTSD from that.
That's tough. But
It's a sad situation.
You and I both have a military background as well.
Yep.
So you were in the
I got drafted.
Marine? Yeah. Tell us
Yep.
a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
I walked in the first day and they said, "Look what the wind blew in." I said, "The wind held, the draft's doing it." Yeah, it was 1971, and I transferred from a quarterly system to a semester system. I was off a month in college, and I got my draft notice. I went down to the draft board and said, no, I'm a student. And they said, "No, you're not. You're not currently enrolled in a college."
They caught you.
And I said, "All right, what do I need to do?" And they said, "Well, if you enroll today, we'll let you pick your date." So that was January, and March 1st, I went into the service. And I went to Fort Ord. Vietnam was going on, and put me on hold for OCS. And while I was on hold, waiting for those orders, I talked somebody into letting me go to drill sergeant school. And one of those amazing stories. It got to be an E5 in 6 months, and got to be a drill sergeant in the Army at Fort Ord. And at the end of that period of time, when it was time for me to decide what I wanted to do with my career, Vietnam was winding down, and my company commander said, "You do not want to stay in this man's army. Go back and go to school. Go back and do what you were doing before you came." And I literally left the Army on a Friday and was enrolled in school on a Monday and had my job back at the YMCA on a Tuesday. And as they say, it was like that 2 years never happened, but it happened, and it was the best leadership development program I have ever gone to.
It certainly was.
And if I think we ought to do anything in this nation, it's bring back the draft. We've got a lot of young men and women that could absolutely get a
Benefit.
great leadership development course by serving 2 years in the service. It was a good experience.
Well, I spent 4 years, and it was a life-changing event for
Yep.
me. It created a lot of structure that was lacking before.
You know, just imagine what we'd be like today if we didn't have that opportunity. Oh my.
Makes a big difference.
Yep.
So where do you see yourself going, Dave? I mean, you've got so many different things, so many options. I mean, what
Yeah, I get asked all the time, "When are you going to retire?" You know, "Can I trust you with my money? When are you going to retire?" And I tell my clients, I'll probably die at the desk. I picture, morning, 89 years old, sitting at the desk and going, "What was that?" And boom, gone.
As long as it's quick.
You know, and I got to tell you, again, blessed with good health, blessed far beyond my years. I want to work for another 20 years, Hopefully my mind will be as sharp. Well, my wife will tell you it's not as sharp as it was, but what does she know? She's only been with me for 50 years. What do you know, honey? I'm looking forward to continuing doing what I'm doing and probably spending the rest of my life training the NICs, training financial advisors, teaching them how to do this thing that we call financial planning.
Well, and basically helping people. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
You know, and if you can do that every day of your life, you get to come to work and ask, who can I help today? Not how much money can I make today, but who can I help today? I've been able to do that for the last 50 years of my life. I started as a YMCA volunteer when I was 14 years old teaching swimming lessons at the Y. So I've had 50 years of getting to help people every day. If I can continue doing that until I drop dead, that'll be a wonderful, wonderful life.
And that's not working. That's helping.
And my wife wants me to go to work someday before I die, but probably not gonna happen, honey.
Well, if the wife has to be there behind supporting and
Let me tell you, she's
encouraging.
been there for 50 years. We've been a great team. And as you know, my wife does mammograms all day long. So
And that's a tough
she
job
helps
to have.
people all day long, and they love her. They
that's
love her.
good.
God bless her. She does a great job.
Do you have any words of wisdom for the audience? You know, from all of your experience and everything you've done, what would you like to recommend as a takeaway or two?
Well, you know, it's funny because Nick and I are having this conversation in the elevator today about getting up every morning and having 3 things you know you have to get done before the end of the day. Write them down the night before and do them. Get those 3 things done. Eat the frog. Do the toughest thing first. Don't procrastinate. When you get that thing done, the rest of the day is easy. Make sure that you're doing the things you're doing for the right reasons. It's never going to be about the money. It's always going to be what's best for the client. Get involved and never, ever, ever say no to anybody. If somebody asks you for help, help them. When I was 8 years old, my grandfather told me when I was having a bad day, he said, you know, Dave, if you're having a bad day, go out and help somebody. You'll feel a lot better. And I said, what do you need done, Grandpa? And he had me throwing rocks from the creek bed up to the side of the creek. Of course, I made a game of it, put cans up there and threw rocks at them and got some kids from the campground to come over, and he paid me $2 that day. And I went, I helped somebody and I made $2. What a good deal. The other thing he did was he took 20 cents back. I said, what's that for? He said, that's going to go in your savings account. You just save 10% of what you make. I tell people today it's 20%. So, you know, save some money. Put some away for those rainy days.
Don't live beyond your means. You know, try to be a
Learn to
little
live on
below.
80% of what you make, not 110.
Right.
Where the problems that I see in our community is people that live beyond what they can afford to live and buy new cars every year. I just got a new car. My old one, 177,000 miles, 14 years old. I pulled into the Honda dealer a month ago and said, all right, it's not working. How much? They said $2,700 to fix it. I said, that's 4 times what the car's worth. They said, yeah, we know that. We keep telling you it's time. And 5 minutes later, I drove out with a new one. And I got a Honda Odyssey. I love it. Again, I'll have that car. That'll be the last car I ever owned.
what
I
I'm
just have to
thinking.
keep it polished and lube, oil, and filtered. It'll be fine. But yeah, it's great.
Very good. Very good. Well, we're running out of time. You know, we're going to have to wrap up.
How did that happen so fast?
It just went right by.
Hey, thanks for letting me on the show,
no, it was a
brother.
pleasure. Really enjoyed having you here.
Always good to see you.
We'll have to play catch up again, and you know, maybe in a few months you can come back and tell us who the winner was.
I'll tell you who the winner is. I'll bring the winner. How's that?
Sounds like a plan.
That would be even better,
That'd
wouldn't
be
it?
perfect.
Okay.
All right,
Love
very
it.
good.
Thanks.
And this is Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii. I had Dave Livingston today, and we just had a great conversation about all the different things that Dave is involved in, and we got updated on a lot of different organizations in town. So I want to thank you very much. We're here every Thursday at 2 o'clock on livestream.com, and you can go to thinktechhawaii.com website for the schedule of the shows, for all the shows that ThinkTech does. And we're pretty much live during the day, all during the week. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.